Welcome to another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Alamo City Sportscast coming at you from the west side of San Antonio. My name's Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. We go for about an hour and a half talking sports, pop culture, and nostalgia. Good morning to everyone who's on our YouTube stream right now. 1,750 plus subscribers strong. We see Sith, we see Sam Salinas, Matt Lerma, Matt Gomez, JHNSB, who's apparently my burner account. Already in the mix right now. Again, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbors about this show. Good times, man. Spurs lost last night to the Phoenix Suns in what was a meaningful game because the Spurs could have advanced in that Cup series or whatever that's going on over there. We'll get into that. The big debate about Jeremy Sochan last night kind of rumbled through Spurs Twitter last night. I got cussed out in the Spurs in Matt Lerma's post game.
This was after I left, I assume.
Yeah, so he was doing his Twitter Spaces involving the Spurs. I was just talking about Sochan, and I got cussed out, so is what it is. We'll get into that. We'll get into the week that's up ahead in the NFL. Lots of sports, a lot of pop culture, a lot of nostalgia going on today. Joe, how you feeling today, my man?
Feeling good, and Matt Lerma is pointing out here, he was saying Sochan had a better game than Wemby.
So let's get into last night's game. Are we going to have Jeff Garcia on today from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5?
I went ahead and reached out to him again this morning. So he's tentatively scheduled for 10:15, but knowing him, he's probably going to be running a little late.
Yeah.
We'll probably get him on around closer to 10:30.
Yeah, so the Spurs played last night and are back down to 500, right? So they took on the Phoenix Suns, and it was a brutal game. Spurs lost 104-93. Spurs fell behind from the get-go. We're down 9-0 to start the game. Then you saw Kevin Durant go down with an injury, and now we think as Spurs fans, okay, we have a chance. Spurs got it down to 2 at some point. Then the lead would get extended back out to 10. Then they get it back down to 2 or 3. Then they got extended back down to 10. The thing about it is that Wemby had the worst game of his season, right? So you look at it, Joe, you're not going to win a game.
But his back was hurt, Mike.
When Wemby has his worst game of the season, Chris Paul had his worst game of the season. You can argue that Harrison Barnes had the worst game of the season. So let's go through some of these stats here. Victor Wembanyama was scoreless in the first half. Scoreless. This guy who had a triple-double just the game before. Harrison Barnes was 1 of 8 shooting. Chris Paul was 1 of 9 shooting. 3 of the starters did not come to play, right? So as much as I like to joke about it, Sochan's not the reason why the Spurs lost last night. Okay,
his green hair wasn't a distraction to Wemby?
That's the rumor, right? We're going to get into Sochan at some point in this show, but let's talk about the fact that there's some things that are going on, some stats involving Victor Wembanyama that I did bring up during the Twitter Spaces that I think needs to be addressed.
Oh, you were getting cussed out.
Well, it's funny because I was getting people reaching out to me yesterday.
Yeah.
Texting me, people from the show, our watchers,
Of course,
people who are follow on Spurs Twitter, members of the media reaching out to me. And what's funny is that I have been someone who's been kind of bagging on Sochan for so long, right? And everyone has always said that I was a complete idiot. And last night, I had so many people reach out to me and say, we understand what you're talking about. We understand now. And I think the problem is that we had, a 15-game stretch where we didn't see Sochan out there. We saw what the offense can look like without him. We saw how fluid it was. Last night, every time Sochan got onto the court, it just stopped. Screeching halt is what the offense was doing. There's no rhythm to it all. Did it affect Wemby last night? No. Has it affected him in the past? Yes. Last night, Wemby sucked because Wemby sucked last night. Okay? CP3 sucked last night because of CP3. It had nothing to do with Sochan. But when you saw Sochan get onto the court, it's just one of those things where it just slows down. And I had so many people reach out to me, again, viewers of this podcast, people on Spurs Twitter. And I'm not going to say this is what this person said. You and I were having conversations last night. We were laughing because you were saying, oh my God, Michael, you're right.
I said, I've seen enough of Sochan. But the thing is, it wasn't just Sochan, right? Spurs as a whole, as a team, they played horrible. And the thing that I'm saying is, as far as them not playing good, is when they're winning, they know who to get the ball to. They know that their best players out there on the court are the ones you want to feed the ball to because they're going to give you a better chance of knocking down that shot. Yesterday, there was a lot of equality.
Right.
You know what? We're going to do like we do when we're in practice. We're just going to pass the ball around the horn, and
Mhm.
whoever's open right there is going to take a shot. That's stupid. Because what happens? You all had a poor shooting night because you made poor decisions with the ball, poor shot selection. There was a lot of selfish play that I saw out of these players last night. And this is a big game. They didn't match the opposing team's energy. The Suns, the Spurs took this as it's just a regular game, no big deal. Everything was on the line. They didn't come out and match the Suns' energy. They came out flat, and right off the bat, I knew, you know what? This is gonna chalk it up to a loss. They didn't have it.
Okay, so there's a big stat. I agree with everything
Yeah.
you said there because it was before Wemby's the focal point of the offense, and they kind of went away from that a
Yeah,
little bit.
exactly. Who would have thought the tallest guy on the court give him the ball?
Right, especially when Durant goes down with an
Yeah.
injury. There's a stat that I came up with yesterday, Joe, and I did it kind of on the fly on Twitter Spaces, and we need to discuss this. It's about Victor Wembanyama. Now, Wemby, for all intents and purposes, is going to be an All NBA player this year, right? He's on track for that. He's on track to win Defensive Player of the Year. He was the Western Conference Defensive Player of the Month for the month of November. Offensively, his production has gone up. His shooting percentages have gone up on 2-pointers and 3-pointers. Joe, last year, Victor Wembanyama, when you look at all the shot attempts that he did last year, 32.3% of his shots, 32.3% of his shots were 3-point attempts, which means that for every one 3-pointer he shot 2-pointers, right? Pretty good mix there, right?
Yeah, pretty good mix.
I'm looking at his stats right now on NBA.com. So far this season, he has shot 166 3-pointers and 162 2-pointers. More 3-pointers than 2-pointers for the entire season. Now, his shooting percentage has gone up from 30% to 33.7 from 3. But, Joe, when you have a 7'4" guy who is shooting more 3s than 2s for the entire season, I understand there's some games when you get on fire and you want to keep chunking them up. We saw Wemby catch fire a couple of weeks ago, right? People were giving me crap about it because they're like, we told you could shoot the 3, right? He's at 34.7, which is all right, 33.7 rather, which is, I mean, it's just okay. Joe, are you okay with Wemby shooting the ball that often from 3? Because to me, it boggles the mind. It confuses me that he is not man enough to go down low and play big boy basketball. That he's relying on the 3. He's 7'4". He's taller than everybody on the court. He should be down low, banging bodies. And yeah, you can give him his 3s. Perfect world, Joe. He shoots 20 attempts, 13 from down low and 7 from outside. That's what I want to see of Wemby. But instead, what we're seeing is 11 from outside and 9 from inside. We have a super chat coming in from the Drew Show, $5.47. Thank you so much. It says, cut the BS. The alien spaced out for all but 12 minutes of the third last night. Luka, Paul, Joker, they showed out. He has to want it. He has to take it, and he didn't last night. Drew Show, thank you for
thanks, Drew.
the super chat, dude, and the constant love that we get from you.
Yeah, look at Matt Lerma has something here because he's a Sochan fan. He's going to die on that hill with Sochan, and he was saying that our starting 5, the best starting 5 that we have out there on the court, couldn't do anything last night.
Right, but they also have a winning record.
And what happened when Jeremy Sochan scored his 14 points? Do you want him to go ahead and score 20 points a night and the Spurs lose?
Well, let's get into this. Okay, the Spurs had a bad night last night.
Of course, shooting night. And it wasn't just Sochan's fault. It
wasn't Sochan.
Yeah, it was a team.
Well, no. Okay, the Spurs had a bad night.
Yeah.
So if we're going to take one game here, this is like saying getting all excited because Wemby went 7 for 10 from 3, and everyone's saying, well, he should go bombs away. What did I say 2 weeks ago? Pissed off a lot of people because people become prisoners of the moment.
Yeah.
And I look at it from a 30,000-foot view. I basically said, Joe, it reverts back to the mean. And what happened? Wemby's 3-point attempts His 3-point accuracy reverted back to the mean. Okay. Just because you get hot for a week or get hot for a 2-week period doesn't mean that you're going to sustain that, Joe. The averages average out over the long term. It's kind of like roulette, right? If it's red 10 times in a row, it's probably going to be black 10 times in a row at some point. It all averages out.
Yeah.
Last night, it averaged out in the sense that the Spurs had a bad game from not only Victor Wembanyama, but also Harrison Barnes, who, again, Harrison Barnes, just a week ago was the Western Conference Player of the Week. He reverted back to the mean last night. Chris Paul, who's been playing out of his mind, turning back the clock, reverted back to the mean last night. It was just a bad game, dude. And it's kind of hard to say, okay, well, you see, that's why we need Sochan out there. That's why we need this and the other. No, the Spurs starting five is still the best starting five out there. The best starting five is CP3, Stephon Castle, Harrison Barnes, Victor Wembanyama, and Julian Champagnie. Do we have Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs on?
We do have Jeff. He's on standby right now. I'm bringing him in.
All right, man.
Getting all his information here ready to go.
Again, this Victor Wembanyama stats for the year: 23.5 points per game, 10.4 rebounds, 4 assists. He's gonna be an all-star for the first time this year. And more than likely will be an all-NBA player as well. Joined by Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs, lead writer for KENS5.com, but we got to give him his intro.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talk. Here comes the money.
Finally hear it this time.
Dollar. Very nice. We got our good friend Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs at KENS5. Jeff, what I love about what we do, Joe, and what we do, Jeff, is the fact that we sometimes have conversations down low, text messages, instant messages, and we don't say everything that's on there. James Pledger is part of the mix as well from San Antonio Sports Star, and it's just so funny, man. But last night, Jeff, it was just a bad game, right? I mean, it's just that's just what it was.
Yeah.
Sochan is not to blame for Wemby, for Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes having a bad day yesterday. It just seems like the team came out flat. They had been hot for so long, and they reverted back to the mean last night.
Yeah. By the way, everybody, those conversations will never be public that we have on text. Okay? So all you little kids don't even think about asking. It's all right. But first of all, I'm glad that you said that it wasn't just Sochan or it was just a collective.
I blame the green hair.
The Joker hair? The Joaquin Phoenix Joker hair?
Oh, that's not Joker hair. Joe and I were going back and forth. I was calling Sochan the dot from the dot races. He's the green dot. I was looking for the red and blue dot to come out.
It also looks like the Chia Pet.
Oh, man.
But no, it was just a collective loss. Look at Chris Paul, the veteran on the club, openly admitted last night after the game that he needs to lead better by example. His shot wasn't falling. So he took a lot of the blame as well. And you had, look, when Wemby goes scoreless for a half, that's not a good sign. Look, your chances are likely you're going to lose that game.
Right.
That's for any generational player, whether it had been LeBron, Shaq, Tim Duncan, something like that. The chances of you winning the game are going to plummet. So overall, it was just a sluggish start. And this has been a pattern of the Spurs since the jump. And we're going to be talking about it today on Locked On Spurs when it drops in a few hours.
The starting
five.
No.
Slow starts.
Yeah.
The slow starts it finally caught up to them versus Phoenix. It caught up to them. They cannot rally that they've been doing against better quality teams. You could get away with that. Maybe your Sacramento's, your Chicago's this weekend, what have you. But the point is, even if they're able to do that and still rally, and yes, they've been winning, and yes, they're coming back, and they're showing their mettle and whatnot. But when was the last time we seen a complete 48-minute game from this team? We haven't in quite some time at all, from beginning to end. But I heard you talking about you starting lineups and units out there on the court. The updated stats still don't have a Wemby and Sochan on the court as one of the better lineups out there. The top three right now, according to Pivot Fade, are Harrison Barnes, Castle, Champagnie, Paul. Basically, your starting five. And even then, your starting five is still one of the best in the league right now. That gives you a plus-minus a net rating of 18.9. All right. So then the second best unit still doesn't have Wemby and Sohan on the court together. That has Champagnie, Paul, Wembanyama, Wesley, and Mamu. Interesting. That unit vaulted up. The third best lineup, again, according to Pivot Fade, Champagnie, Paul, Keldon Johnson, Wemby, and Branham. So, again, top three units right now for the Spurs still don't have a Wemby and Sohan pairing out there.
Yeah, it was.
So
it
is interesting.
It was a bad game yesterday. You know, the starting five of the
shooting
Spurs.
night.
Starting five of the Spurs were 3 for 31 from three. That was like 9%.
Yeah, and could they defend the perimeter shooting from Phoenix? I mean,
absolutely not.
And that was a big time problem. Spurs at some point though in the third quarter got it down to 2, had a chance, but they ran out of gas, and Phoenix just has.
It caught up to them. Yeah, that rallying, that rallying. I don't care if you're a young team, old team, middle team, rallying every day, every game for an entire 82 season ain't gonna work.
So you look at the Spurs yesterday. Harrison Barnes with 2 points, Chris Paul with 2 points, Champagnie with 9 points, but he missed 7 of 8 3-point attempts. Wemby missed 8 out of 9 3-point attempts. Bad game, dude. It's kind of hard to judge this team based on that performance because it just seems like everything just snowballed into bad things, right? So you were talking about the analytics involving the most cohesive starting five for the Spurs and the next starting five, and how there's no interplay there between Wemby and Sohan. I noticed yesterday, and I don't know the exact minutes there. Sohan played 22 minutes last night. It appeared as though, and maybe I'm wrong, it appeared as though they kind of kept them away from each other yesterday. Like when Wemby goes out, Sohan comes in. When Sohan goes out, Wemby goes out. It almost appeared as though I didn't see them on the court very much yesterday. I would guess that they might have been on the court together for about 8 to 10 minutes yesterday. I mean,
look, you still got to get Sohan's legs back from being away from the game for 18 games. Mitch Johnson said pregame that they were not going to put Sohan on a minutes restriction.
No.
However, they were going to be monitoring it and watching it. So I just think that was just a rotation thing. I don't think it was an intentional thing like, Wemby's out there, so we're going to throw Sohan on the bench. I think it was just they had him coming off the bench and just had that simple rotation. Now, but if it continues against Chicago and Sacramento, then there might be something to that.
So Sohan yesterday has 14 points, 12 rebounds, 7 offensive rebounds, and a lot of his fans got all excited because they saw a bunch of stat lines. And it's one of those things where, where there are two camps now when it comes to this. Back in the day, there was Team Tank and Team Playing, right? Team We Hoopin'. And right now, there's Team Sohan is the next big thing. Let's have him in the starting lineup. And then there's the other team going, well, wait a minute. Analytically, it's not the case.
Yeah. Analytics show that Wemby and Sohan don't work.
Yeah. Say that one more time.
The analytics right now show the top 3 units that don't have Wemby and Sohan on the court. Okay, top 3. Now, eventually they do get on the court when we look at those numbers. But as far as the top 3 units on the floor, do not involve Wemby and Sohan together.
Can you say that louder for the people in the back?
What are you trying to drive at, Jimenez?
Well, what I'm trying to drive at is that you're showing us numbers, that this isn't me just spewing hate, as people say.
What do I say? Women lie. People lie. The numbers don't lie.
The numbers don't.
Now, when Wemby, the unit where Wemby and Sohan does work is actually the 4th best unit out there, according to the numbers, not to the eye test, not to Jimenez, not to Joe, not whoever. It's Barnes, Paul, Keldon, Wemby, and Sohan.
Right.
That gives you a net rating, a plus minus, I should say, a plus 15.
Not bad.
But still, that's not bad, But as far as them together in the top 3 units on the floor, don't involve those 2 guys together.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to ask you a question, Jeff. Last night, one of the ways that the Spurs gave away this game is they got away from feeding Wemby in the paint. They got away from being aggressive in the paint, and they let the Suns basically just throw out a zone defense out there and make the Spurs a poor jump shooting team. The Spurs reverted back to making poor decisions with the ball. They had poor shot selection. There was a couple of ill-advised plays. Keldon Johnson, one of them, shooting the ball early, in the clock, chunking up a three and it didn't go in.
Mm-hmm.
They were just chunking up threes like nobody's business and they weren't going in. Phoenix knew that too. The Suns, they just pulled back and let them shoot from beyond the arc. They're like, they ain't got it. And they're not coming into the paint to attack. So there's nothing that, the Spurs could really get going. I mean, if you're not having a good shooting night, what is the other thing that you got to do? And this is really fundamental basketball. You attack the basket, right? You get to the free throw line and you get yourselves back into the game. They didn't really do a lot of that. They had some spectacular missed dunks, but they amount to nothing, So at the end of the day, I think this loss is attributed more to the coaching staff and not having the team prepared and not making some, maybe some lineup changes quick. This player's not having it. Let's take him out. Let's put somebody else in. I mean, it looked like Harrison Barnes was gassed. He was tired. CP3 looked tired. Maybe they should have given him the night off and go ahead and put somebody else in the starting lineup.
Well, here's the thing. Is it just me on the last few games? Mitch is tightening up the rotation. When was the last time Mamu's got out there, or Blake Wesley, or
Right.
Brown? I find that very interesting. And if they are having sluggish starts, why not bring their energy guys in sooner? Harrison Barnes in the last home game credited the energy guys and told them, pretty much said their names. Said Wesley and Mamu and Bassie, all those guys. He gave them credit for the Spurs having another rally from behind game, and you haven't really seen those guys out there. So that's something to think about too. Another thing that if you're looking at a silver lining from the game versus Phoenix and the game versus Sacramento recently is, do you think that Vassell is solidifying himself as the 1-2 combo with Wemby? Is he making that push? Because everybody's still thinking, oh, Wemby needs a running mate. Well, Vassell's been showing that he likely is that guy.
Well, I think what's going to end up happening, Jeff, is that it's ultimately going to be Castle at 1, Vassell at 2, along with Wemby, at 5. CP3 is not going to be there forever, right? So I think what we're seeing is that the torch will eventually be passed to Castle to run the offense at some point, right? So maybe not happen this year, but that's going to be the long-term solution. Look at the stats, though, Jeff. We're 20 games into the season. Wemby's missed a couple because of injury. But you look at the stats, and I posted the fact that last season, 33.2% of his shots were 3-point attempts. So he had two 2-pointers for every 1 3-pointer. This year, 50.6% of his shot attempts, more than half, are 3-point attempts. And this is a guy who only shoots 33% from 3. Now, his effective field goal shooting percentage has gone up to 56, which is where I want it to be. It's identical to where I want it to be. But do you think it is smart for Mitch Johnson, for the coaching staff, to allow Wemby to shoot more 3s and 2s for the entire season?
I think that's part of his game. I think that's just who he's going to be. And in today's league, if you're not a stretch big, it's making open shots, wide open shots, or just shots in general away from the rim, then you're probably not going to survive. I mean, you look at guys like Zach Collins, look at other guys that can't spread the floor. I think that's just who he's going to be. And fine, Wemby, if you're going to be taking 3s, fine, but let's work on smarter shot selections, not just chucking it up from half court, not just running up to the half court and then seeing the 3 and then, I'm going to stop here and just take a 3 shot with 12 seconds left on the shot clock, something like that. But you don't do that.
I was going to ask you a question, Jeff, and it's the same question that I asked in the Spurs Spaces last night. How many superstars do the Suns have currently on their roster, do you think?
Superstars?
Yeah, NBA superstars,
I'm going to
Kevin
go just
Durant. Go ahead.
Two, maybe, Booker and Durant.
Okay, Booker, Durant. All right. And the thing is, the Suns, they have a more talented roster because they spent the money. They're all in. They're trying to win right now. Spurs right now, how many superstars do they have on their team?
Just the one.
Just the one. And that's a disparity. And that's what Spurs fans fail to realize at times. The Spurs are outgunned. They need to have another superstar to give this team a chance to take that next leap. But, they're all in with some of the other players. But the thing is that Wemby's just surrounded by a bunch of guys.
And that's the thing. I mentioned that on the Twitter Spaces last night, and thank you to Matt Lerma for
Well,
helping run
Joe,
that.
Joe, what? Then if that's the case, couldn't they take down the road in this rebuild? Couldn't they just take a page out of the Nuggets? Nuggets really have maybe 2 stars, Joker and Murray.
Yeah, but they
Uh,
but
There's
they,
two.
but
We
they,
got-
they,
we
they
got
have two,
one.
we got one. The thing about it, though, in the Twitter Spaces yesterday, I mentioned the fact that the Spurs have proven one thing this year, which is that we're not a bottom dwelling team anymore.
No.
Right? So the team is not good. It is not bad. It is reflective on the record. What do we say to Joe all the time? You are what your record says you are,
Yep.
right? And what is the Spurs record right now?
They're below 500.
Well, the Spurs right now are
a little over 500, like 1 over game.
11
Yeah.
and 10.
No.
That's exactly who we are, man. At this point right now, we are a 500 team. We're gonna lose to some good teams. We're gonna lose to some bad teams. We're gonna beat some good teams. We're gonna beat some bad teams. We are a 500 team, right? I am of the belief the Spurs are better than the Blazers, the Jazz, and the Pelicans, better than the Kings and T-Wolves. That means the Spurs are in line to make that run for that 10 spot in the Western Conference. But Jeff, yesterday, in watching the game yesterday, I know you look at it, and a lot of Sochan fans out there will look at the box score, and they just look at the box score.
Mhm.
And the box score says, Sochan had a pretty good game yesterday. What did he have? 14 points, 12 rebounds? But what they don't see is that he slows the game down. And it's funny because I've been saying that for the longest time, but since he missed 15 games, people have been reaching out to me, Jeff, going, dude, I never noticed how much he slows the game down, like you said, because he was always in there. You take him out, you see what the Spurs offense can do without him, and all of a sudden you put him back in there, and there's just like he doesn't look like he knows where he wants to be on the court. It's just absolute chaos. He gets rebounds, he gets putbacks, he's doing back cuts, but it's almost like he's like the Travis Kelce of this team. Sometimes Travis Kelce doesn't have a play for the Chiefs. Travis Kelce sometimes just goes out for a pass.
Oh my
He freelances out there, and it looks like said it's just freelancing out there.
You're gonna call it garbage minutes, garbage points.
Well, Joe, we talked about this yesterday, Joe, on the Twitter Spaces, and it's so funny.
Man.
Let's say that you were not a fan of the Spurs,
Okay.
right? And they had 5 players out there, one of them being Sochan. Who would you want shooting the ball?
If you want anybody else,
who do you want? If you're playing the Spurs, let's say that you're a Suns fan last night. Let's say that you're a Lakers fan the other night, a Jazz fan the other night.
yeah,
You're playing the Spurs. Sochan is out there along with Wemby, Champagnie, CP3, and Barnes.
yeah, you don't want nobody else shooting the ball, but
Who do you want shooting?
Sochan.
Why?
Because if he's shooting the ball, that means that the team is locking down the better players.
And that's the thing. Sochan could go off for 14, 18, 22 points, and I don't care. The other team wants him to shoot.
They're going to say, go ahead and shoot that 3.
If you're going to beat us, beat us.
We're not even going to guard you. Just shoot that 3.
When was the last time Sochan had a 3-pointer where somebody put a hand in his face? No, they dare him to shoot it. And he's going to get these backdoor cuts and whatnot. That's fine.
Yeah.
But really what happens offensively is that the other team gets to hyper-focus on another player who's a better player, whether it be Wemby or Barnes or Champagnie. And I just kind of feel like it's just one of those things where we're playing 4-on-5 offensively when Sochan's out there. Even when Sochan is getting the 14 points, even when he's getting the 18 points, it's because they're letting him shoot the ball.
Yeah. Last night, the Spurs were a one-trick pony, man. They had nothing, dude. They just came out flat, had nothing.
They were a half-game pony. That was it, and Vassell about it, yeah.
They could do nothing, man. And I think at that point, Mitch should have just went ahead and said, you know what, you guys aren't feeling it right now. Let's go ahead and put in the second and third string.
I bet you those guys would have brought more spark.
Mama would have.
The Mamus, Bassey,
Yeah.
Malachi, Wesley, those guys.
Now, someone off the bench who did bring the spark was Devin Vassell. Devin Vassell, 25 points last night, 10 of 14 shooting, 4 of 5 from 3. Only guy to really have a good night shooting last night for the Spurs outside of 1 foot. Devin Vassell is fighting for that starting spot, Jeff. 28 minutes. He's playing starter minutes. Do you think that the Spurs are eventually going to put him back into the starting lineup and maybe remove Castle from that? Castle didn't have a bad game. Castle had 16 points.
No, he was decent, but as far as Vassell returned to the starting unit, I mean, he's your highest paid guy, I believe, right? He is the guy, and oof. I mean, geez, that's a good question. Look, it's a good problem to have. The Spurs have depth. They definitely have depth right now. And oh no, you substitute. I'm making this up. Castle for Vassell. Great. Vassell's been on a tear of late. What's he averaging this season? About 18 points per game, giving you about 3 assists a game.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do at Castle? Then you got more firepower coming off that bench. So I think either way they go will be fine. I just don't know if they're going to have 2 of the more pricier players, Vassell and Keldon, coming off that bench.
Well,
but if it's not about money and it's not about that and everything, and if Vassell wants to do what's good for the Spurs and team first, then coming off the bench, if they decide to go that route, then so be it. Because if the numbers don't lie, and the numbers are showing that the top starting unit, or just the unit out there that produces the most, doesn't include Wemby with Sochan or Vassell.
Mm-hmm.
It's still, your Chris Paul's, Barnes. It's basically your starting unit, and that ranks among the best in the league right now. So, do the Spurs really want to fix something that's not broken?
And that's why Champagny, Barnes, and Castle are perfect in the starting lineup right now to go along with Wemby, is because Champagny knows his role. He knows he's gonna get his 3-point attempts. Just hang out in the corner, knock down some threes. Stephon Castle doesn't need to be shooting the ball. In fact, he's the guy that you give the ball to at the end of the shot clock to try to figure something out. Go run the break, go fill some lanes, things like that. Chris Paul's Chris Paul. Wemby's Wemby. They all know their roles. Vassell is too alpha to be hanging out with Wemby.
This is his team.
In his
How
eyes,
does he carry it? He carries himself like this is my team.
He's too alpha,
right?
He's too alpha. Sochan is too clunky out there and can't shoot for crap. Keldon is too streaky.
Yeah, and you know who needs to get removed from this team immediately? Not Keldon Johnson, but Zach Collins.
0 for 7, 0 for 3
Oh
from 3.
my God, man! Put Bassie in there. Make him, and like MB Easy saying right now, watching this right now on YouTube. Make Bassie the permanent backup center, not Collins. Collins is, booty crumbs, bro. Booty crumbs.
Dude, Collins, he's had some good games this year. He's had some awful games. The guy's just like, he's our bipolar player. He's one or the other. And it's almost like if he's not feeling it. Back in the day, Spurs have had players like this. Britton Forbes was one of them, where you could tell the first 3 shots if he was gonna have a good game or not. You pull him before he goes 0 for 12. And that's what Collins is, man. Collins sometimes feels it.
You know what we need? We need a Vinny the microwave.
Yeah.
From back in the day. Come out, man. Just give us 10 or 12 in a hurry and then sit you the rest of the game.
Talking to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. Spurs still over 500, so we're still 11 and 10. This is a great game that they have against Chicago coming up tomorrow at 7 p.m. Here in San Antonio. It's a great game because the Spurs win. The Spurs win, go 12 and 10. If the Spurs lose, it's good because Chicago gets a win, and the Spurs have a top 10 protected first-round draft pick from Chicago. So we need Chicago to win some games along the way. But the Spurs should take them out. Spurs have Sacramento and then New Orleans, so a 3-game homestand this week. 3 games in 4 nights, Jeff.
Man, you can be at the Frost Center a lot, Jeff.
Yeah, I'll be there at least for 3 games straight. Another thing, too, to keep an eye on, that the Bulls are 6-4 in their last 10 games in San Antonio, versus San Antonio, I should say.
That's a trap game, Jeff. That's a trap game.
So the Bulls bring it to the Spurs, at least in the last 10 games.
Yeah.
Don't forget last season, the Bulls did sweep the regular season series against San Antonio.
Now, Chicago right now has a 9-13 record. If the season ended right now, that pick would come to San Antonio. I'm looking at tankathon.com. Right now, the Spurs are on track to have picks number 13, which is the Spurs' own, the 15 pick, which is Chicago's, and the 17 pick, which is Atlanta's. Again, Atlanta now 11 and 11, back at 500.
Yeah, they're winning.
Yeah. So we need to do something. We need to have Trae Young blow something out or something sometime soon. Jeff Garcia,
Pause. What did you say? Need to what? Somebody? What? Pause.
Cochino. Tell me about what are you working on Kansas5.com today?
All right. Well, we just posted to start your day a quick look back at the last night's loss, what the teams had to say, the players about the win for Phoenix, and then the loss for the Spurs. You'll be able to read what Chris Paul had to say about the loss, and then Wemby as well. And then in a few minutes, we'll catch up some Spurs notes and news that you may have missed. And then we'll get locked on Spurs, where the big question is, the poor starts, are they finally starting to catch up to the Spurs? And we saw it versus Phoenix, and then we go into some other bits and things about the Spurs, and of course reacting to Wemby winning the Defensive Player of the Month award. And so a lot of stuff coming up from me and Kansas5.com, Locked On Spurs. So tune in, subscribe ASAP. We appreciate it, and appreciate you guys for letting me come on here.
Yeah, 5,000 subscribers strong on YouTube, man.
Yeah. And by the way, I think Jimenez is coming on this to close out the week on Locked On Spurs.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yep. And take a while. Guess what we're going to be talking about?
Sohan.
Why is it every time Sohan is a topic of conversation, you bring me on just to drag me? By the way, Jeff.
What's up?
By the way, SI.com, not NBA.com, SI.com, released its rookie ladder today.
Yeah.
They have Jared McCain of the Sixers at number 1. They moved up Dalton Connect to number 2. They have Castle at number 3. So Castle seems to be in line for all NBA rookie first team at this point. But
yeah. I mean, he has to be, right?
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it, right?
I can't see how you didn't.
Yeah. That. I can't. By the way, I know this kid from Philadelphia is playing good. I haven't seen him play. Is he that good?
He's knocking down shots, man. I don't know what to say other than the fact that he's knocking down shots and he's filling in roles because of so many injured players out there. So the question is, when the starters come back, does he just hit the bench, or did because the people that he's starting in place of make money? It's kind of like keeping Devin Vassell out on the sidelines. He's making $30 million a year.
Hey Jeff, I got to ask you a question here, man. It has nothing to do with basketball. This is going to have to do with me finally watching the Terminator animated series that was on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. Finally, huh?
Really good, man. I enjoyed that. But have you gone in and watched Skeleton Crew yet?
Yes, I have. I saw the 2 episodes recently.
Goonies in space?
Good Lord. It's Goonies in space. That's pretty. I mean, seriously, think about it.
Oh, Lord.
Seriously, guys, think about it. There's a bunch of little kids, and then I'm talking about Goonies now. A bunch of little kids involved in some sort of pirate treasure thing, and pirates and kids and Lost and adventure.
Can we talk about
Skeleton
how bad?
Crew.
Can we talk about?
Wait, hold on. Skeleton Crew in space. Bunch of kids lost and involved with pirates. Oh, and by the way, Goonies, there's One-Eyed Willie.
Yeah.
And Skeleton, there's One-Eyed Droid. Oh, and by the way, talk about a complete recycle job. The opening scene is a complete recycle job of the New Hope.
God.
It's complete recycle. I'm seriously, it's almost by the book. It's so ridiculous. Now, I'm not going to go Jimenez Sohan on it yet. I'm going to give it 2 more episodes. I want to see what Jude Law does with his role as a Jedi. I definitely am interested in that. I'm interested in where we're going with this. What is this planet that's all secretive, and the pirates are reacting to it like it's the lost city of El Dorado. Seriously. So I'm interested in those storylines. But basically, if y'all saw Goonies, y'all pretty much seen Skeleton Crew, at least first 2 episodes.
Jeff, can we talk about how bad the movie The Goonies is in general?
My God, Mike.
Hey, you're out of control, Mike.
Well, here's the thing, Jeff. I don't know when the last time you saw that movie was. I grew up and
I spoke to the actors at Big Texas.
Okay. The Goonies I watched for the first time back when I was a kid. Right? So it's one of the few movies that I did watch.
It's a lie. You didn't watch movies as a kid.
I didn't. But The Goonies, I must have watched it as at a sleepover.
Joe caught you in lies.
I played sports, Jeff. I'm sneaky athletic.
I never watched movies. I didn't have time for movies. I didn't have time for movies.
He was busy practicing his handles, Jeff. He was a point guard.
Let's talk about that in a second. Jeff, I saw The Goonies as a child, right? And I remember growing up loving The Goonies, right? Middle school, high school would watch The Goonies. I had gone about 30 years without watching it.
Mm-hmm.
and I tried introducing it to my kids, and I hyped it up, man. I was like, dude, the Goonies was so much fun. I love this movie growing up. There was a guy named Data, right? You know, he was in love. He was in love with his brother's girlfriend. You know, it's going on and on and on about the movie, right? Within 25, 30 minutes of the movie, we had turned it off. It was so bad, Jeff. It did not age well, dude. It was so good as a child, but as an adult, it was so annoying.
You're out of control, Jimenez.
Look at it. Says Mike read the encyclopedia as a kid.
I actually did.
Did you eat glue as well?
So Jeff, I was at a bar with was it Lucy Cooper's? Is that where we were?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was at a bar with Joe over the weekend, and he got to meet a lot of my childhood friends.
Yeah.
And he's asking
Alex
them,
Noriega,
Sean Quintero, Richard Zamora, and he was asking them questions about, you know, whether or not I'm quote unquote sneaky athletic, especially back in the day. I'm 47 now, right? And Joe was getting pissed off more and more.
Why was he getting mad?
I wasn't even getting mad
because they were
dude.
confirming. They were making confirmations.
They're afraid of Mike. They don't want to say what they really feel.
Yeah, they're afraid of me.
They go, he's intimidating. Remember, Jeff? He's intimidating.
I remember that, yeah.
And I go, hey, was Mike sneaky athletic? And they're like, well, he was faster than he looked. Okay.
Okay. See, they're trying to be nice to him.
Yeah. He's faster than he looks.
You asked, no,
and then no. And let me say, the other thing is that they said, Mike's like, could I hit 100-mile-an-hour serve? And they're like, yeah, he could do 100-mile-an-hour serve. And then I asked Sean, I said, Sean, did he have handles back in the day? And Sean's like,
handles.
Well, he was pretty good back in the day when we were younger, you know?
So you see confirmation. By the way, Tony Analysts asking me the question, do I think the movie Better Off Dead was good? Better Off Dead is an amazing movie. Love that movie. Okay, so Jeff, last night, I refereed two high school basketball games last night, right? One of them was a varsity boys game. And normally I go do 2 or 3 games, no problems. Last night, man.
Wait, Jimenez. I'm hearing some kid in the chat is contradicting everything I'm saying regarding.
What's going on?
Regarding starting units and everything, saying that my stats are wrong and whatnot.
Yeah, because it doesn't pass their eye test, you know.
Yeah, all right. So why don't I just do this? You know, again, go to pivot fade. That's it. You're able to see the starting units. It's right there, the top 3. So whoever this kid is doing it, you know, just look it up yourself on pivot fade.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, is that they don't like the analytics, man. They fall in love with certain players, and they fall in love with old school stats. You know, it's funny because, you know, people ask a question about like baseball. You know, is batting average important? Is number of homers, number of RBI important? No, it's slugging percentage, man. It's you know, it's WARP. It's
again, and also too, the numbers don't involve injuries and say that. I'm just looking at numbers. That's it. Just looking at numbers. Yeah.
You know, like RJ Ochoa is really big into that when it comes to football with DVOA and all these analytical things that kind of do things. The old school was, well, how many points and the rebounds they get? You know, the old school way is, well, how many, you know, what's their batting average? That's old school way of thinking when it comes to sports. The analytical side of it is what is the offensive rating? What's the defensive rating? What is the comparison between the two? And it's basically not because you could get an easy layup, but if they gave you that layup, they gave you that layup. But Jeff, last night refereeing was the first time I've officiated in the past 2 or 3 years where I was legit tired with like 3 minutes to go in the game, legit. But there was a great play in that game, Jeff. It was brutal, dude. I saw the nastiest dunk on a player that I've ever officiated in my entire life.
In high school?
The gym erupted, man. Oh my God, dude. Let me explain what happened, dude. There was a
Well, we make it quick. I got to go record Lockdown Spurs in a few seconds. But go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, it was the player that it was getting kind of chippy. You know, they were kind of jawing at each other. We had to tell them to calm down, not to talk trash to each other. Yada yada. We'd given both teams warnings about that. And there was a ball that was stolen at midcourt, and there was an outlet to this one guy who had a breakaway for a dunk. I mean, the guy was probably 6'5", 6'6". And one of the players from the team that got the ball stolen from decided that he was going to go try to block the dunk. Bad mistake. The guy was, you know, it should have just been an easy dunk and just let him have it, right? He jumps and jumps in front of the player as he's going for the dunk, and the guy just tomahawks it onto his face.
Wow.
God.
Okay. Both players come crashing down. And
Dang.
on top of it all, and one.
No.
Man.
So
dude.
it's an and one. So not only did he get posterized, it was an and one. The crowd went crazy, right?
And this is high school you're talking
This
about,
is
right?
high school varsity, right? The crowd goes crazy. Now the guy that got dunked on hit the ground pretty hard.
Yeah.
They took him out of the game and they put him on the bench, right? What was funny about it though was that all the trash talking and John that was going on stopped because all 10 players on the court started laughing about what happened. Like even the team that got dunked on was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna give him so much crap later on. That was awesome." Like it actually calmed everything down. Well, here's the thing: about a minute later, that guy that got dunked on started barking from the stands and wanted to run onto the court. He had to be grabbed by one of the coaches and forced back down. He was so embarrassed by it all. But the rest of the game, the next quarter and a half, everything was cool.
Yeah.
No one talked trash. It wasn't chippy anymore. All the players seemed to get along, and it took that one monster dunk. And it wasn't a two-hand tomahawk. It was like the guy cocked it back all the way for that dunk. It wasn't like a little, the guy was 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". He cocked it back. That kid got in the way. He got jacked up. It was great, man.
Yeah, just gonna have to go ahead and bounce, Jeff. I know you got to go ahead and record Locked On
No,
Spurs.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your story, 3 minutes.
Oh no, it was just so great, man. Because there are some moments there in high school basketball where these players are super tall, super athletic. I would say that there were probably 5 players in last night's game that were 6'5" and taller.
Dang, they weren't like that when I was in high school.
Look at this, Jeff. As you're going away present here, Tony Ornelas says, "I heard Mike Jimenez was great at a great CYO athlete."
I was a great YMCA athlete. I'm not Catholic, so
and you know what? As I'm getting older now, like I think it was the other day I was at the gym, and it felt like it was just like a couple years ago. That was it, minimal 2 years ago. Whereas I was able to throw up some good weight up on the bench, and I said, I'm going to try it again. It's been a while since I tested my PR personal record.
Yeah,
I had to like mix in like 4 or 5 warm up sets just to get to what I used to do just instantly. So man, I feel like LeBron James right now. Father Time is starting to punch back at me now.
Oh, you know what that was? That was just all the food you ate over the holiday, man. I bet you were just like, oh man, trying to burn all that stuff off, Jeff.
No, dude. Well, Jimenez knows. Like, well, I think you do too, Joe. I'm always at the gym. Like, six days out of 7 days a week.
Yeah, man.
And I swear, man, Father Time. It's true. It's undefeated, undefeated. Because man, I was like, man, let me try my PR again. Let me just try it one more time. I know I did. It was just a couple years ago. Like, how bad can it be?
Yeah, no.
I locked up. I said, man, I need 2 or 3 warm up sets just to get going.
No.
And then I want to know this: is there a rule in San Antonio that every freaking gym has to have their AC on all the time and fans blowing at the same time? That is stupid. Just so stupid. I don't get it. I go there to get a good sweat going, not to stay cool and dry. And so that didn't help as well. But man, Jimenez, you're on your path to getting cute again because you're doing all that cardio.
Well, I'm going out of the country in a couple of weeks, man. So I've got 2 more weeks to get even.
Where are you going?
Going to Barbados, dude. So I'll be in the sand on the beach of Barbados. So here's the thing, man. I bought a vacation package 2 years ago. Probably shouldn't be saying this, right? But my ex,
oh no, what did you do?
My ex and I put down a deposit because we had gone to the Caribbean a few years ago, right, for our anniversary, and we put money down as a deposit to go. And the problem was that I got called by that company saying, we're going to keep your deposit if you don't come out here. So I was forced to take a vacation in December out there because I would have lost my deposit. Mm-hmm. So I decided to go to Barbados. So I'll be in Barbados for a few days.
There you go.
Dude, all I do is what's that?
Wait. You're still going? I don't understand. What's the problem?
Oh, I'm
if you're
going.
still going to be able to go.
I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be going. I'm not gonna lose a deposit. Nuh-uh. I put way too much money down as a deposit. I'm gonna go enjoy myself out there for a few days.
Nice.
So I leave on 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Nice. You feel slimmed down enough where you're going to be wearing the Speedo there on the beach?
Dude, who the hell wears a Speedo at 47?
Jimenez does. That's who does.
What is your fascination with the visualization of me in a Speedo?
He's going to wear it backwards.
Oh, no. Man, Joe, why did you say that?
Hey, so what?
Why did you say that?
Jeff, what are the odds of you going to Paris for?
You're gonna look like a Muppet hanging around on the beach.
Nice, Jeff. What are you going out to Paris for the Spurs Pacers games out there in France?
No way, man. You seen the prices to get out there?
Yeah, $600 one round trip. That's not bad.
Plus hotel, plus the food, plus the amenities that you're gonna get.
You only live once, Jeff. You only live
Ubers,
once, dude.
Uber. I don't know. Do they have Ubers over there? I'm assuming they have Ubers over there.
I'm sure they have cabs. Yeah,
there's cabs or whatever, totally up. Yeah, not a good thing.
I was talking to my girlfriend about that because Fernandez reached out to me a couple of days ago asking me about it. Like, he goes, dude, are you gonna go? And I was like, I don't know, I haven't decided. And he was giving me the prices of what it costs. And my girlfriend, I told her about it, I was just kind of joking. And she goes, you only live once, just referee more games and pay it off. Make it happen.
Look at this comment. Man. This is funny, Jeff. Look at what they tell Mike. Does Spirit go to Barbados?
I don't even know what I don't even
Spirit Airlines.
I don't even know what I'm flying, man.
Are you gonna be able to make it there with Spirit being like what TP construction?
They're gonna land like 10 miles off the coast. You can swim the rest of the way.
I'm looking at like the flight. Let me see here. Let me see if I can fly.
So you're not going to be going to Paris, Jeff?
No, I don't think so. No.
No poodles in Paris, man.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. What about you, Joe?
Nah, man, I'm good. I'm gonna stay here, man. I might go one day, but I don't know. I always wanted to go to Rome. I want to go check out Rome. I want to go look at the Colosseum.
I've been to France before. I was 20 years old. My 20th birthday was spent in France.
Do you eat escargot?
Never have in my entire life.
That's snail?
I like escargot. It's pretty good.
Really? Well, of course.
Okay.
You have steak on a silver platter.
Oh,
of course you do.
my.
No, here we go.
Here we go. Hey, you know what to do, Jeff.
Yeah. He reignited it again.
You know what to do, Jeff. Hashtag cook.
Time to cook.
Time to cook, man.
Very nice. Well, that is Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. We love you, brother. We'll follow you again. Follow him on
Yep. And again,
Twitter
make sure Jimenez is coming on. I think when the Friday's episode. So yeah, Jimenez and I will be doing Locked On Spurs on Friday, wrapping up the week. Silver and black, Sochan talk, maybe some Wemby talk. We'll see. Big question. I got a big question for Jimenez on that day. It has nothing to do with him wearing Speedos. So, we'll get his take on several NBA Spurs topics, and of course my takes as well. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Jeff. See you later, man. Thanks.
Later.
All right, there we go. That was Jeff Garcia joining us from the Locked On Spurs podcast. He's also a proud supporter of what we do here. So we're going to go ahead and give Jeff some love, and we'll be right back. Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on Threads at JeffG10s5SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at JeffGSpursZone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow, not only on Threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@LockedOnSpurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
And while we're at it, let's give some love to our friends over at MCS General Contracting, because I see Joe over there with that cap. These repping the merch.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, Reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show. Yeah, if you want to get some of that diamond hard concrete in your life, you got to go ahead and give Chris Leha a call. His number is 210-774-9155. And they are, and the chat that you're enjoying right now is powered by MCS General Contracting. And Mike can attest to the work that they do.
Yeah, they did a landing at my house, a sidewalk. They did a fantastic job. Got it done right the first time.
Right.
So I'm taking a look right now of the college football playoff. The projection that just came out.
Yeah, I saw that earlier too. I had tweeted it out.
Some surprises on here. First of all, if you had told me when the season started that we'd have getting buys Boise State and SMU, I wouldn't have believed you.
Not at all.
I don't think it's going to hold up that way, even if they win out. I know SMU has a game against Clemson.
Yep.
This week, and it's a big game, and it's a highly ranked team. But come on, man, they're not going to have SMU get a bye.
SMU. The argument with SMU is, have they really beaten any, good teams?
And
lately?
Clemson's going to be a test, right?
Yeah.
So imagine this. Imagine saying, we're SMU, we're the Mustangs, right? Which is, they're playing well. We get to host the winner of Alabama and Notre Dame. What the hell?
I'll take the money line.
They have Texas as the number 2 team hosting the winner of Indiana and Georgia. I told you they're going to play each other 3 times, dude. Yeah. And it might flip, because if Georgia beats Texas in the SEC championship game, Texas will not be a top 4 team. Boise State at this point right now would play the winner of Arizona State and Penn State, and then Oregon would play the winner of Tennessee and Ohio State. I'm sorry, but I'll take the field. I'll take 5 through 12 right now versus 1 through 4. Okay, Oregon has had a fantastic run, but Oregon's Oregon. Boise State, come on, man. I know they got Ashton Genty, best running back in all of college football, but come on, man. SMU is not in the same class as these schools.
Look at
and
Tim
Texas
Gonzalez.
Hasn't beaten very many good teams.
As Tim Gonzalez says, SMU is a tough team.
I don't doubt it. They should be very, very proud. But the idea that they're the 3rd best team in the country right now is ridiculous.
They're gonna go up against a wall when you see the talent level and the disparity between the 2 teams.
It's like a mid-major in college basketball. You have a mid-major like a Murray State or a Wichita State. It's a good team.
You'd be a badass in your own little conference.
Yeah, but then they play Duke, and then what happens?
Wheels come off.
SMU, come on! It's a great story.
Southern Methodist, man, come on!
It's a great story. If they could make a run, it'd be a Disney movie at some point.
You're gonna go out there and audition to play the coach.
Who has Boise State beaten? Who has SMU beaten? Come on.
Texas, for that matter. Who have they beaten?
So you look at it, Alabama at 11. Are any of these teams locked in? Because, Tennessee's not in the SEC championship game. Ohio State's not, it's just one of the things you look at it. I think we're pretty much down to the 12 teams that are going to be there, Joe. I don't see many of these teams falling out. There might be 1 or 2 that could fall out, but I think 10 of these 12 teams are really safe.
The thing that I'd have to say, I'd have to push back a little bit here with the Texas Longhorns. I'm a Texas Longhorns fan, supported the team for quite some time. A lot of my family members have graduated from there,
Right.
My daughter goes to UTSA, which is part of that whole system there. But when they're going up and they have to play Georgia again, I don't know, man. Do you trust Texas to beat Georgia?
Do I? No.
I don't, man. I'm just saying, being honest.
Right. I don't trust it, dude.
If Georgia has to say, you know what? I got to go ahead and beat Texas to get to the promised land.
They're going to beat them.
They're going to beat them, dude.
And it's one of those things where it's just we talk about matchups all the time. We saw that was a bad
it's
matchup
not a
for
good
Texas.
matchup, man. That defense was swarming, man. Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
they just They just had Texas on their heels, man. And I think it's going to be more of the same.
Joe, NFL Power Rankings. Which one are we going to do today? Are we going to do CBS? Are we going to do Sports Illustrated? Are we going to do USA Today?
Oh, let's go ahead and go with CBS. I like CBS Sports, man.
Let's see if it's Pete Prisco today. It's John Breach today.
Oh, okay.
All right, we got a newbie coming out here talking about. Let's see here, CBS. By the way, well, before we go to them, give me your power rankings. Who is the best team in the NFL right now?
I got to go with the Lions, man. The Lions, to me, are the best team in the NFL right now.
I'm going to fight back on that. I know the Lions have been playing so well. Let's give our own personal power rankings, dude. Let's screw ESPN and all that stuff. Here's the thing. I'm looking at that Buffalo team.
They're good too, man. Not going to lie.
Buffalo has won 7 in a row. 10-2. You know it's snowing like crazy over there. I don't see any team going into Foxborough. Or not Foxborough. Is that Orchard Park? Going over there and losing. And beating Buffalo in that snow. Josh Allen's used to it. That whole team is familiar with it. Dude, if they have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, throughout the AFC, they're not going to lose. Kansas City is not as good as they used to be. Texans suck, dude. Texans suck. Is Russell Wilson really going to be making noise in the playoffs, even though they're 9-3? The Ravens, you never know what you're going to get from them, dude. They're either world beaters. I'd hate to play them because when on fire, that Ravens team is as good as any team in the NFL.
But they always shit the bed in the playoffs.
At some point, right? So really, I'm looking at the AFC and I'm thinking to myself, it's just Buffalo. I don't believe in the Chargers.
Chargers are fool's gold, man.
8-4.
Another team.
8-4. Dude, it's so weird because we talked about how good the AFC is. And right now, there's only one alpha team. There's only one tier 1 team. And that's Buffalo.
I don't know. I got the Lions.
I'm talking about AFC. Let's
okay.
go.
Okay.
AFC. Buffalo.
Okay.
Tier 1, right?
Yeah.
Tier 2 is Kansas City.
Okay.
Tier 3 is probably Pittsburgh, Baltimore.
I'd go with Pittsburgh, man.
Well, but just in the same level of and then tier 4 is probably Houston. Going into the NFC, though, you've got the Lions who have won 10 in a row, and you've got the Eagles that have won 8 in a row. By far and away, the 2 best teams out there. And what's weird is that we kind of disregard the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings are 10-2.
They're still there.
They're 10-2. The Lions have something to play for because they have got one team that's right behind them just nipping on their heels.
What about that Falcons team?
Dude, Cousins come down to earth, man.
Primo.
Dude, the NFC South and the NFC West just bow out right now. None of those teams are worth watching right now. Saints suck. Falcons suck. Bucks suck. Panthers are playing with a little bit more heart, but they suck. The Niners suck. Rams suck.
Niners
Cardinals
have
suck.
the same record as the Cowboys. You're only as good as your record says you are.
That's right.
Welcome to the club, Niners
Welcome
fans.
to the club. It happened to both, right? Who would have thought? If you told me before the season, so it's the great thing about the NFL. It told me before the season started that Minnesota and Washington would be in the playoffs, but the Niners and Cowboys would not. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
I would say the power rankings for me, Joe. I have Buffalo at 1. I have Detroit at 2, Philadelphia at 3, Kansas City at 4, and give me Pittsburgh at 5.
Man, for me, I got Buffalo at number 1. Not Buffalo. I got Lions at 1. I got Buffalo at number 2. At number 3, I'd have to go with the Eagles, man. At number 4, I'll go ahead and go with Steelers. Number 5, to round out my whole trifecta there.
Yeah.
Vikings.
Yeah. The Vikings, all they do is win, man. Who have they lost to? I know they lost to Green Bay one time. I think they lost to Green Bay and Detroit. No, they lost to Detroit 31-29. They lost to the Rams 30-20. So they won 5 games in a row to start the season. They lost 2 games, and then they won 5 games in a row. They got the Falcons. Then they've got the Bears, dude. They're going to be sitting there at 12-2. We're going to be looking at a Vikings team at 12-2, not even have them in their top 5, right?
Look at this. The Drew Show is making fun of you. He says, doesn't Snow every day in Buffalo. How do you know it's going to snow in the playoff game over a month away? Good Lord.
Well, no, I don't know, but I can promise you this: it'll be 25 degrees or colder at kickoff.
Somebody will be out there in the stands without a shirt. You know it's going to happen, man. Getting frostbite.
That's funny. I saw something the other day that I thought was kind of funny. Is it possible for you know how we talk about the MVP, right? And right now Josh Allen is considered to be the favorite. Saquon Barkley too. Was hearing something on ESPN the other day. It was a throwaway line, but I thought about it and I was like, well, wait a minute. Could this be true? Could you have an MVP candidate, Joe, who's having a historic year from a team that's 4-8?
Maybe.
Have you seen Joe Burrow's stats?
I have, man. Joe Burrow is a good quarterback on a bad team.
Dude.
Bad team.
Joe Burrow, if you're not looking at stats, you might be looking at that team going 4-8 and thinking, oh, well, they must
garbage.
suck. It's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, here's the stats right now for the season. 68% passing accuracy. 68%. He's not Dink and Dak. He's throwing it long, right? 68. 30 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. Let's look at the last 5 games, Joe. Last 5 games, he's had 5, 4, 3, and 3 touchdowns thrown. He has thrown for 15 touchdowns,
man,
in the last 4 games and 2 interceptions. 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions right? He's averaging 320 yards passing in those 4 games, and they're 1-3. Get free Joe Burrow, man. Get him out of there. Joe Burrow on a team with a good defense would be in the same realm as Patrick Mahomes, in the same realm as Jared Goff and Josh Allen.
I bet you Saints fans would welcome Joe Burrow.
Hand him a fist saying Burrow's another Kirk Cousins, bro. Nah, dude. Burrow is elite. Kirk Cousins is really good. Joe Burrow is elite. And you look at it, Joe Burrow was somebody who threw for 60 touchdowns at LSU in a single season. How do I know? I seen it.
Look at Mario Cavazos. He says, Puro pinche Cowboys a la verga. He goes, Super Bowl bound. It's our year again. Oh, man. You know what? I caught my eye, too.
Real fast. Speaking of Joe Burrow, by the way, it was revealed yesterday that he bought the Batmobile from The Dark Knight.
He bought one of them because I know they had them on sale. They were on auction.
So this is the articles today on MSN that he spent $2.9 million to buy a Batmobile. And he's now talking about wanting to have, and I don't know if he's joking or not, wanting to spend money on an actual bat suit.
Hey.
So they could fulfill his
fantasy.
his fiction fantasy. So it says Burrow purchased one of the 10 officially licensed and fully functional Batmobiles that were sold by Wayne Enterprises Experiences. And he's talking about it in the Hard Knocks edition that's going to come out tonight.
Nice.
$2.99 million.
You know, Hefe would like to give that Batmobile a little run. Go for a little spin in that thing. You know,
so Sam Slims is saying Cowboy fans would welcome Burrow. Dude, who would you trade for Joe Burrow? I would trade the farm for Joe Burrow, man.
Get rid of everybody. Sell the team. You know, this caught my eye too. I was going to show this because I follow front office sports, and they were saying that Stephen A. Smith is making progress on a contract extension that could make him ESPN's first ever $100 million talent. But another source warned a long-term contract extension is not done, and there are still issues to be resolved. But the thing is, if ESPN does this and they go ahead, it's on your end, by the way. That's it. And if ESPN does this and they spend $100 million on Stephen A. Smith, he's getting up there in age, dude. How much time do you really think he's got left?
Stephen A. Smith probably has a good 7-8 years left. I don't even know what his age is, but I'm gonna say 7 or 8 years.
He's an entertainer, dude. He's always with the hot takes, screaming and yelling, screaming A. Smith.
I'm indifferent about Stephen A. Smith because I like a lot of what he does.
Yeah.
And, you know, here's the thing, man. Stephen A. Smith is the narcissist of ESPN, right? He and Skip Bayless didn't get along. They had a good thing going. They didn't get along, right? He got Max Kellerman kicked off because Max Kellerman called him out and was basically being more cerebral, right? Stephen A. was wanting hot takes. Max Kellerman was there bringing analytics and data, and Stephen A. Smith ain't about data.
We ain't the same, brother.
Yeah, he let him go. Let him go.
But curiously
enough,
enough, they still have Molly Querim on there.
Molly Qerim, who's a stunning Albanian hottie.
Yeah.
But you have Shay come in.
Yeah.
And it's still a pretty decent show. But the fact of the matter is that they probably should be focusing their attention on other talents as well, because if they're going to pay him $100 million, that means they're getting rid of everybody else. We've already seen some of these shows go off the air or plan to go off the air, like
Pardon the Interruption.
Pardon the Interruption's next.
Yeah.
But Around the Horn has gone off the air. Sports Reporters went off the air. They've got to do something. Pat McAfee was the big get. So essentially, it's going to be a two-headed monster. It's going to be the Pat McAfee / Stephen A. Smith / Mike Greenberg.
And they both come out on their shows once in a while. They make appearances and whatnot.
I never thought I'd like McAfee as much as I do.
He's entertaining, dude.
Do you know who loves Pat McAfee? And you can tell is Adam Schefter.
Oh, Shefty.
Yeah. Shefty seems so comfortable with McAfee, and I never would have thought that. But they just seem like
they're buddies, bro.
Like they're buddies. AJ Hawk there looking like a weirdo.
Yeah, man.
Hawk, is that who that is?
Yeah, he's Hawk. He's a freaking weird ass dude.
Yeah. Drew Show says nobody under 30 knows who Stephen A. Smith is. $100 million is dead money.
Telling you, man. The thing with ESPN, the 4-letter network, like we like to refer to it, is they need to get younger, man. There's the younger generation that's up and coming that's now going to have that residual income, to go ahead and spend. And do you think they want to go ahead and see people like Stephen A. Smith, the talking old head on the show?
Well, I mean, you look at sports talk radio in general, and it skews above 50 anyway. I hate to bring it to you, Joe, but it could be that younger people just don't care as much about sports as we did growing up.
Probably not, but I'm just saying, at the end of the day, I mean, you want to get that younger crowd in there. You're going to have to do some different things. And they made a good point in here, too. They said the TNT boys are heading to ESPN. That is true.
Now, is Ernie going to do it also?
I think he's going to retire, man, but we'll see. I mean, he might be enticed by the money.
They do need to get younger, man. We see this locally. Bill Land stepped down because of his health issues, and we have Jacob Toby come by. I like hearing Jacob Toby. Yeah. I think he's doing a fantastic
job.
Energy.
He's bringing the energy. I still miss Bill Land. Whoa, mama, Wembanyama.
Yeah, I mean, he was good.
Yeah,
he was good. I like Toby though. But you look at Toby and you have to ask yourself the question: does he want to be attached to the Spurs for the next 3, 4, 5 years, or is this a stepping stone for him to go to ESPN or ABC Sports or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, we're gonna have to see what he wants to do.
We see locally Carl Schoening, and we see
Bill
Schoening's son.
Yeah,
go off and do games for Katie Goodman.
Yeah, Katie Goodman
go do games for local colleges as well. UIW on the ESPN3 platform or the ESPN Plus platform.
Yeah.
Speaking of Katie, we need to bring her back in.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had her on, but she's busy too, dude. She's doing a lot.
Oh, she loves us though, man.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm saying I know she's busy. She's always working.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, she's one of the hardest working women out there, dude.
She does a fantastic job.
And super sweet too. If you ever meet her in person, she's really down to earth kind of gal.
I was kind of shocked by that.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you, because you never know. Whenever you have somebody who is popular and has a following and things like that, you don't know how they're going to be. But she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, she is. Sweetheart. She's super nice, man.
She knows her stuff, dude.
Oh yeah, no, she's smart.
She knows her stuff. We were talking about the NFL season. Let's see the big games coming up this weekend.
What do we got?
Dude, we have a good Thursday night game.
Finally.
Dude, it's one of with consequences going on. The 9-3 Packers taking on the 11-1 Detroit Lions. That's gonna be a good game. Other good games this week. Falcons trying to hold on to the NFC South, taking on the Vikings in Minnesota. Panthers taking on the Eagles, so the Eagles should go to 11-2. Bills at the Rams. Chargers at Chiefs. That's the only good game. Dude, we got a Monday night game with the Cowboys. We're talking about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's going to Jerry World on Monday night. Dude, can't they flex this game?
You know this is gonna be ugly, dude.
Who you got? Cincinnati favored. Cincinnati has fewer wins, dude. Cincinnati has 4 wins and 8 losses, taking on a 5-7 Cowboys team. Cincinnati favored by 5. Who you got?
You know what? If I'm a betting man, I'll take the money line and I'm gonna bet on the Cowboys. I'm gonna make me some money. You know who's gonna be rolling over right now?
Yeah.
Brandon Medina.
Why is that?
Because he's like, bro, you always do the money line. You do this. You always want that big money. I said, I might not hit often, but when I do, you come with Joe. You go ahead and bet with Joe. You walk away in a Ferrari. You bet with Brandon. You can get a bag of peanuts.
Look at how many points the Bengals have scored last 4 games, Joe. 41, 34, 27, 38. That's 75 plus 65. That's 140 divided by 4. They're averaging 35 points per game the last 4 games, Joe, and they're 1-3 in those games.
They lost a lot of close games. That's the thing that sucks with them, dude.
They lost to the Steelers 44-38. They lost to the Chargers 34-27. They lost to the Ravens 35-24. Earlier in the year, they lost to the Ravens 41-38. They lost to the Commanders 38-35. They lost to the Chiefs 26-25. They lost to the Patriots 16-10. They're the kings of losing by a score.
Yeah.
Brutal, dude. Absolutely brutal. The only teams that they've beaten this year, the Panthers, the Giants, the Browns, and the Raiders. They're not a good team, Joe. They're not a good team.
You're only as good as your record says you are.
We have a $1.99 super chat coming in for the Cowboys Monday Night Football grito.
Hey,
let's make it happen.
He's paying for it, man. So we're going to have to go ahead and make that happen. Dropping the money. You know what? Let's go ahead and get the grito ready, dude.
Presumir a mis amigos les conté que en el...
Now, people think that's Photoshop, but I think I actually saw him at Market Square, dude.
No.
Let's give me some love. Let's put my cell phone number out there, 210-508-0369. If you have questions about investments or insurances, 210-508-0369. I've been in financial services for 19 years. So if you have questions about retirement accounts, rollovers, 401k rollovers, things like that, thrift savings plan, college savings accounts, life insurance, disability, long-term care, been doing it for 19 years. I'm a very successful practice. Give me a call, 210-508-0369. After this, I'm going to be working on a trust, Joe.
Nice. We're going to show this right here for the Monday Night Football game here. You will be able to see this on Disney Plus. It's going to be a Simpsons themed football game, kind of like they have the SpongeBob themed games. This one will be shown on Disney Plus, so you can check that out. Bengals and Cowboys. Hopefully Cowboys get the win there. You got kids, you can watch it with them. I know I have, my kids are getting older already, and all that, but they still like watching the SpongeBob or the themed games like this.
That's fun, dude.
Yeah,
that's fun. Hey, I'm looking at the news right now, man. I don't want to get morbid right now, but good Lord, what's going on in New York right now?
Oh, I saw that.
CEO of United Healthcare was gunned down at point blank range. Dude, I bet you it's somebody who got denied a claim, or the family member of somebody who got denied a claim. Bet you.
That has Hitman written all over it, bro.
Name was Brian Thompson. He was shot and killed in Midtown Manhattan this morning. Apparently a targeted attack. He was about to attend the company's investor conference, according to CNN. Gunman is on the loose. Police are having a news conference at this hour. Dude, you go up and just shoot somebody in the head, point blank range. Brutal, dude.
That's
brutal.
Crazy, dude. Crazy. I wonder what the ramifications are going to be for that too. Now that this has happened to United Healthcare, I bet you they're going to take a little plunge right now in the market.
Mm-hmm. Whataburger, according to mysa.com, sued by Nearby Systems for patent infringement. The company has also sued CVS, Cinemark, and Jason's Deli.
Wow. So Whataburger's in hot water. You know who else is in hot water too?
Mhm.
They have this knockoff Buc-ee's in Mexico called Lucky's. And Buc-ee's is going after them. They said they're going to go after them, and they're going to go after the other knockoff Buc-ee's that they have in Mexico as well.
They have an HEB knockoff in over there as well. That's funny.
They also have a Whataburger knockoff in Mexico. It's called Whataburger, and it's orange and white. It looks just like a Whataburger. But you know what? When you order your burger, you can get a beer with it.
Nice.
Yeah, there you are.
You know, you can do that in Vegas, by the way. The Whataburger over there does have beer that you can
Nice.
serve.
But that's a nice Whataburger, though.
It's nice, dude. It
They
is
have
nice.
screens and everything. You can just watch a game, get some food.
It's 2 stories.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
You walked through there, too, when you were doing a live remote one time.
Yeah, it was fun times over there. Have you figured out what you're going to do for New Year's Eve?
I don't know what I'm going to do. Last year, we went to Disney World, man, and I'm looking forward to just kicking back here at the house.
Yeah.
Maybe just low-key, just chilling here with the kids, and just having a drink. And they pop fireworks and whatnot, so I'm just looking forward to just having a good laid-back time, dude.
My
I don't have to
girlfriend
get
has
on
me
a
on the go,
plane.
dude. My girlfriend has me on the go.
Oh, God. I hate flying, dude.
No, I say that I'm a young 47. She's a super young. I'm not gonna say her age,
Dude.
but she's super young for she's relatively close to my age, but she's younger than me. But it's one of those things where she is always active and on the go.
Yeah.
And I'm not used to that. I'm used to the stagnant lifestyle sometimes.
Yeah.
But I've been
Travel it takes it out of you, man.
We've gone to Miami to go visit her daughter. We've gone to Austin to visit her son. We've gone to concerts. We're going all over the place. We talked about just taking it easy and just being here in San Antonio for New Year's Eve. But the other alternative could be Lake Charles. I don't know. It just depends on things, man.
That's not bad. Hey, we also got an incoming $5.47 super chat from the Drew Show. He says, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised in 5 years Wemby walks away from the NBA because he found something better to do his life. Just saying.
Well, there are some players who walk away because of injury. We saw Andrew Luck get away because of injury. I will say this, though. The Spurs have given him a taste of some success. Going from a 22-60 team to a team that's 11-10 is progress, right? So because of that, I think he's still motivated to be with this team. Here's the thing, Joe. I think he loves basketball. You look at like a Ben Simmons back in the day, and there are other players out there in the NBA who are all-stars who don't love the game. I don't think Richard Jefferson, when he played for the Spurs, even loved that game.
Nah, he played better when he was with Milwaukee. Then he came over here and just didn't fit. The fan reception with him was bitter. They didn't care for him.
But there's certain players, like when we had Tim, Tony, and Manu, we knew that they loved the game.
Yeah.
And
Some are just for a check, dude.
Kobe, you knew he loved the game. I think Wemby loves the game. So therefore, I think he's going to have a long NBA career.
But he's not going to love the game if the Spurs don't put another superstar around him.
I mean, we're going to have to hope that Castle's going to be that guy. I mean, we're talking about like the lineup. How do we insert Sochan back into the lineup? How do we insert Devin Vassell back in the lineup? It's actually very easy because we look at it like, okay, we have to, get rid of Champagny. We have to get rid of Barnes. We can't get rid of Barnes. Barnes is a consistent player, right? It's simple, Joe. You get rid of Chris Paul. Chris Paul ain't going to be on this team next year, right? At some point in this season, I'm going to say now, I'm talking about rodeo road trip.
Yeah.
Rodeo road trip going into the trade deadline. You give the keys to Stephon Castle and say, you got the juice now. You're the starting point guard. Chris Paul gets traded to another team, a team that needs veteran leadership for the playoffs. You get a second-round draft pick in return because they ain't going to get a first. And then you have a lineup there of Castle at 1, Vassell at 2, Champagny and Barnes at 3 and 4, and you have Wemby at 5. Your 6th man is Sochan, and then you have Keldon.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's what you do at some point.
I think Castle, though, is going to be your starting point guard. That's just me.
It's going to be sooner than we think, dude.
I think so. I think right now with the Spurs having Castle in the starting lineup, it's a test to see.
It's prepping him.
Can we really move with this kid? And if they can, they're going to tell CP3 bye. Next year, I guarantee some things are going to happen. CP3 he's probably going to be gone. Another thing that can happen in the next 2-3 seasons, maybe sooner. You're going to look at Keldon and you're going to look at Jeremy Sochan and you're going to say, what was his name? Gone.
Yeah.
They're going to be gone. A lot of this team is going to go a lot. They're going to look a lot different in the next 2 seasons. A lot of these fan favorites, they're going to be gone.
It is about Wemby 1, Castle 2.
Yeah.
Everything else, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And if you want to hold on to Vassell at 3, because Vassell is a good player, man. He's an 18, 19 point per game kind of guy. But the fact of the matter is he's brittle, dude. He's going to miss 20, 25 games every year. There's got to be a turnover when it comes to this team.
And they're saying we got enough picks, but the picks are, you get those picks, where are you going to put everybody? You got to move pieces around.
Right. Now, if the Spurs are in position to make the play-in tournament, then I can see them keeping Chris Paul. But does Chris Paul want to stay for a play-in tournament, or does Chris Paul want to go join, I don't know, the Mavericks? I'm just throwing a team out there. He wouldn't go to the Mavericks. They have 2 point guards. But would he want to join the Lakers for a stretch down the road?
Yeah.
You know, playoff push, playoff run. It's going to be up to him because, you know, the Spurs aren't going to get anything for him in the offseason. He's a free agent.
Yeah. What if, you know what? I think it's going to be
Trey Jones is a free agent at the end of the season, too.
He is. You know, and I think this is going to be an eye opener for
Blake
Spurs
Wesley's a free agent at the end of the year.
Champagny
Champagny actually Champagny has non-guaranteed money. Here are the Spurs free agents this year. We got Trey Jones,
gone.
Chris Paul, gone. Blake Wesley, gone. Malachi Branham,
gone.
Those are team options on Branham and Wesley.
Yeah,
Spurs
they're probably going to let him.
Spurs have a team option on Sochan for 1 more season. Probably keep him. Bassie.
He's good, but I mean,
Mamu's a free agent this year.
They'll keep Mamu only for insurance, but they should keep Bassie. Bassie should be the point guard, or not the point guard, the center coming off the bench instead of Collins.
So Tony's saying that Mike wants to throw in the towel already and trade CP3. That leadership needs to be for more than just a few months. Also, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you do what CP3 says. If CP3 wants to stay on the team, keep him on the team. If CP3 wants to be traded, you trade him. That he was brought in to be a player coach. If he wants to make a playoff push with another team, give him that ability to do so. I'm not saying that I want him to leave. I would much rather him be part of that run for the play-in tournament and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if he wants to leave because it's the last year of his career, or maybe the second to last year of his career, you have to honor that.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
You know what? I was telling Spurs fans before the beginning of the season, I said, the season's going to play out like this. Spurs are going to win a couple games. Then they're going to lose a couple games. They're going to win another couple games, maybe 2-3 more games, 4 games in a row. The bottom will fall off. They might lose 3 in a row. And that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be up and down, up and down, up and down. And when the dust settles at the end of the day, the eye opener for Spurs fans are Spurs might be flirting with the play-in on the outskirts looking in. And Spurs fans are going to wish that team could get in there so bad, but it's not going to be reachable or obtainable for them until they make some changes here with their current roster. Because I'm going to go on record and say it again. This ain't it, man.
The belief that the Spurs are just going to get better on their own,
They're not.
and that the young core is going to develop it, dude. The young core, the whole line core got thrown away the second the Spurs got Wemby. Because I don't believe that Devin's part of the core. I don't believe that Sochan is. I don't believe that Keldon is. They're just players on the team, dude. This is all they are. Just players on the team. We've got Wemby, we've got Castle, and that is it. Everything else is interchangeable. If you can upgrade, upgrade. But the fact that the Spurs could get out of certain contracts, the fact that you have Chris Paul's money come off the board. Let's see what they make real fast. And I'm not gonna pretend to be a capologist when it comes to things, right?
Yeah.
But you look at what falls off the books. Here's what falls off the books. Believe it or not, we're paying Jalen McDaniels this year for the Spurs. Jalen McDaniels never played for the Spurs, but his $5 million gets off the books. Chris Paul's $10.5 million off the books. Trey Jones is $9 million off the books. That's $20 million right there. That's $25 million right there. Then you have Mamu's $2 million that comes off the book. That's $27 million. Blake Wesley's 2.5 can come off the books. That makes it 30 million. Branham's 3.2 can come off the books. That's 33 million. If you want to get rid of Sochan, that's at 40 million. You can make, I don't think they get rid of Sochan, by the way, but he has a team option for him for next season. Because I don't see the Spurs bumping Malachi Branham from 3 million to 5 and bumping Blake Wesley from 2.5 to 5. That's what it would take to keep him.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. Spurs also have non-guaranteed money to Champagny. They have non-guaranteed money to Bassie. So they can recoup a lot of that as well. The only players on the roster right now for next season are Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, Wemby, Zach Collins, Castle, and we can say to some extent Sochan. That's 7 players. Half the team's going to turn over next year.
Going to look a lot different.
It is. Mario saying that Mitch Johnson hates Malachi Branham, gets no playing time. Gets no playing time. He ain't going to be here for $5 million.
No. You know what his name's going to be? Gone.
By the way, guess what drops off at the end of next season, Joe? Zach Collins.
Jeez, get rid of him.
18.1 million is what he's going to make next year for the Spurs.
What a waste of money, dude.
Look who else falls off at the end of next year. Harrison Barnes. Those two fall off at the end of the 25-26 season. That's 37 million right there.
I'd keep Harrison Barnes. I'd let go of Collins in a heartbeat.
Yeah, Barnes at that point would be like 35 years old, man. I'd get rid of him too.
Oh, maybe you can go ahead and package him in for some,
Yep.
trade bait.
Spurs, again, 3 games and 4 nights beginning tomorrow here in San Antonio. We'll talk about it some more tomorrow. Thank you to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs for being on. Thank you for the super chats that we received from the Drew Show. And was it Tex-Mex Frank that sent the last one?
Yeah, it was Drew Show. It was Tex-Mex Frank. And the last super chat we had was from the Drew Show.
Very nice.
Appreciate
Thank
you guys.
We appreciate it. Thank you to MCS General Contracting for sponsoring us and Locked On Spurs as well. And again, my number 210-508-0369 if you have any financial questions, investments, or insurances. We'll be back tomorrow. Everyone have a good day.
All right. See you boys tomorrow. We're out. Peace.